Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Adam Schefter has new information about Devante Adams and whether or not he will be a Jet. We'll talk about that and much more. Nick Faria, Jets beat reporter, joins us in his weekly spot. So, Jet fans, let's hit it and get it started. Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
First of all, thank you to Robert. Just remember this, there's a human side to this. There's a family, an extended family that's really hurting. So when you're out there celebrating this in whatever way you do, just remember there's a human aspect to it. I care about my teammates, care about winning. I got to play better. I will. We're getting behind Brick, and, there'll be some changes with this, and that's the direction we're going to go. Today's about moving forward, embracing the changes that are coming, and it's a time for us as players to lock arms with each other and find that belief inside of us, because that's the only way that we can inspire the belief in our fan base to get behind us in the right way.
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Before we get started, huge shout out to everyone out there who helped this channel reach over 39,000 subscribers. If you're new to the show, click that subscribe button. We talk Jets each and every day. And of course, click that thumbs up button and help the YouTube algorithm show this show to more Jet fans. Those are the two things you could do to help support me right here on YouTube. Joining us in his weekly spot is Jets beat reporter Nick Faria. Nick, anything big happened with the Jets this week that you covered?
Yeah, nothing really. Coach firing, potentially offensive coordinator changes. The GM may be safe, or at least safer than we originally thought. So, yeah, a lot going down right now. Pretty exciting time.
We'll talk about Devante Adams in just a moment here, but now that we've had about 48 hours since Robert Saleh was fired after just 5 games, where are you at in terms of what it all means for this franchise now going forward?
Well, and I'll start with the basics. This does not look like a good move for the franchise any way you want to put it. Of course, the record is what the record is, and Robert Saleh clearly did not get it done. So based on that understanding, 100% he deserved to be in this position. He didn't help himself. But at the same time, when you fire your head coach 5 games into the season, you would expect the record to be 0-5. 1-4, and they're only 2-3. They still have an opportunity to clinch for the top spot in the AFC East on Monday, and it was just a weird timing overall because he was allowed to speak to the media on Monday. He wasn't fired immediately off the trip from London, which a lot of times that happens with interim head coaches. But at the same time, this move only works, and I've consistently said this. Firing Robert Saleh only works if you're going to make transformational changes to the offensive play calling system, because Robert Saleh is not an offensive-minded guy. Yes, he is the one that brought in Nathaniel Hackett. Yes, he is the one that decides whether Hackett would have stayed as a play caller or not. But you still have Nathaniel Hackett in the building. You still have Keith Carter in the building. And if you're not going to make those changes, then what really is the firing of Robert Saleh going to do? What kind of impact is that going to have on this particular offense? The one thing that I thought was very important yesterday was Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show saying he essentially gave his blessing to the team that if they wanted to make changes offensively to their play caller, he would not stand in the way. He would welcome those changes. That's a huge statement because it allows Jeff Ulbrich to figure out what he wants to do as a head coach. They're not going to be strung along by a quarterback that wants to do it his way. This team knows they need to win, and they need to win quickly. So I look at where the Jets are right now, and after that Aaron Rodgers comment, it's very hard not to feel optimistic about where this team is going from here. Yes, Todd Downing has his own problems. He has his own issues as a play caller. But when you have a play caller like Nathaniel Hackett, who is just not doing the job, you have to make changes. And this change here to Todd Downing, while it has not been official to this point, it's still a positive stretch to say that it could happen in the very near future.
You bring up Rodgers' comments yesterday on McAfee. This is exactly what you're referring to. He was asked about Nathaniel Hackett. And to your point, Aaron Rodgers making it clear change could be coming.
Well, our relationship's great. It always has been and always will be. I think, that there was going to be some things that needed to change regardless of, what happened to Robert. And, we just haven't been playing consistent football on offense. And as we know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. So, there's when you have a couple games, and obviously I didn't play well in either of them, but where you just don't play very efficiently, you got to adjust some things. So it's a part of our game. Change is part of our sport, and I know there's a lot of things that were swirling out there, but at this point, Brick and I have talked a couple times, and I'm on board with whatever he decides as far as the offense goes, and I want to do what's best for the team, and we're throwing our support behind Coach Ulbrich, and whatever he believes is best for the team is what we're going to go with.
Nick, I hear that. I heard what Ulbrich said, where he was very non-committal on Hackett. Woody kind of talked around Nathaniel Hackett. I would be really surprised if there is not a new play caller for this Bills game on Monday night.
I don't know if it's the Bills game specifically because, and this is why I go back to the word dysfunctional. If Woody Johnson was going to fire Robert Saleh, he should have done it on the plane ride back from London before he spoke to the media on Monday morning, because then it would give Jeff Ulbrich, it would give the interim head coach an opportunity to figure out his plan and sort of go forward. Tuesday is a time where coaches are finalizing their game plan for the upcoming week. So you have Jeff Ulbrich now, who's now thrust in as head coach, still running the defense, and now has to make a decision about offense. It's a cascade of things now that Ulbrich has to deal with, and I don't think it's setting him up for success if he's just going to say, okay, well, Todd Downing's going to throw it in there. He's going to be the play caller, and we're going to see where that goes from here. I think there's a legitimate chance that Hackett could call plays on Monday, but then they make that change going forward. They don't want to just do this.
No way.
I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but this move was made on Tuesday. They're back on the practice field today.
Right.
It takes time for a play caller to develop that chemistry, everything else. And Ulbrich saying, listen, there's change is going to come. It just may not be this week.
Yeah, but here's the thing with that. There were reports coming out that Saleh was prepared to remove the play calling responsibilities from Hackett anyway.
Sure.
Schefter yesterday basically said that Rodgers all but confirmed what he was hearing about Downing being the new play caller. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter if they fired Saleh on Monday or on Sunday night on the plane ride back or whatever the case may be. Like, Hackett is so bad at calling the plays that just trying to do anything there would, to me, be the right move. I really would be stunned if he's the play caller on Monday night based on everything we've heard the last 24 hours.
Now, I want to preface, if you're asking my opinion of what they should do, yes, Todd Downing should be the play caller. They need to make this move quickly. You cannot sacrifice another game offensively, whatever it is. But with Ulbrich essentially being non-committal about making overall changes, yes, I like I said, change is coming. He's going to be replaced as a play caller. I just don't know if it's going to happen this week with the preparation they have, with all this stuff going on and all these problems going back and forth. I think there's a legitimate case to be made that it happens after the Bills game and not before.
How do you feel about this Bills game a couple days out from it actually happening? I mean, are we going to see the Jets come out and with everyone doubting them and them being the biggest story in the NFL right now, are they going to give us a good performance in front of the fans? And what's your feel right now, a couple days out?
Well, it's kind of interesting because if you look at the numbers behind interim head coaches in their first start, it's pretty good. I believe they're all over 500 to this point. So there's a very good chance that the Jets could walk into MetLife Stadium with an interim head coach, beat the Bills, who have not looked good the last couple of weeks, and then step in to first place in the AFCs. So I look at where things are right now. Yes, there's still a chance that the Jets could win this game. They have made Josh Allen miserable at MetLife Stadium consistently over the years. And so, yeah, there's a very good chance the Jets win this game. They just have to clean up so much stuff. I mean, offensively, it's just a mess. You look at their running game, and I look at where the problems are on the offensive line, and you can look at every single tight end on this team and call them the worst blocking tight end in the National Football League. It's an embarrassment with what they have shown on tape over the last few weeks, and they can't run the ball because of it. You're looking at some plays where the offensive line's actually getting a good push, but because the tight end whiffs on his block, it only goes for a 1-yard gain, a 2-yard gain. Until they figure out how to use these tight ends, this offense is going nowhere, and this offense will continue to go nowhere, particularly when it comes to running the football. So there's a lot of stuff to clean up offensively. I think the defense will be fine. You know, Ulbrich still is going to be the play caller from what I've heard. There's still going to be that expectation that they're going to be fine on that end. If they can just put up 24 points, I mean, that's the thing we say all the time. Put up 24 points and you're going to win this game. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. We're talking with Jets beat reporter Nick Faria in his weekly spot on the show. A reminder, the Jake Asman Show is now available in podcast form on either Apple or Spotify. Search Jake Asman Show wherever you get your podcast, and you can now listen to the daily YouTube show in audio form. Nick, 2 pieces of content to play for you as we transition the conversation now to the latest on Devante Adams. This was Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce yesterday.
He's still a Raider. He's never not been a Raider.
Yeah, actually playing a game for the Raiders.
He's still a Raider. When he's healthy and he can play, we'll play him. He's just not healthy right now. And he's getting closer, though. That's the good part. He's working every day to get that hamstrings right. He's in the right headspace mentally. Like I said, we talked recently and had a good conversation, and he's ready to play football.
Has he been rehabbing here at the facility, Antonio?
Yes.
Seen him here?
What do you make of that? Posturing from Pierce, or do you actually see a scenario where Devante would play for the Raiders again?
I mean, it certainly could happen. I mean, this you got to remember that he was one of the leading people in the clubhouse to make Antonio Pierce a full-time head coach. So, you know, relationships can be rebuilt. We're seeing that now in Philadelphia with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. It's not impossible, but at the same time, it's still very unlikely. I mean, the Raiders are going nowhere, and Devante Adams is not going to be a part of this team when the Raiders rebuild their roster and they finally get good again after a year or two. So the expectation is he's going to get traded because they want to get something out of him. Whether it's the Jets, whether it's the Saints, the Bills, the Commanders, certainly the Derek Carr injury, certainly the Robert Saleh firing changes the timeline of this kind of deal. But quite frankly, I still think he gets traded. It doesn't make sense for them to keep him in a lost season.
I do too. I'm not buying it. I think they're trying to get someone to bite and give them that second-round pick that doesn't appear to be out there. And how do I know this? This was Adam Schefter right before we went on the air this morning on ESPN talking about Devante.
The Raiders have not gotten what they wanted from anybody and probably aren't going to get what they want from anybody. So they're going to have to come to a recognition that they're not getting a second-round draft pick. And what are they going to get? And is a team like the Jets going to step up, or is it going to be a team like Pittsburgh or Baltimore or Buffalo, another team that steps in?
What are these other teams doing?
Well, they're monitoring the situation.
You told me this morning. What was the word you used this morning?
Lurking.
They're lurking.
Other teams are lurking.
Yes. This morning, Schefter, he's got looming and he's got lurking. There's teams lurking.
Am I fair to pick up that you said if they're not going to get a second, the Raiders? So implying that they may not or likely not to?
I don't think they will.
This is the easiest decision in the NFL so far this season. If it's going to take a third or fourth round pick from the Jets to go get Devante Adams, You're telling them that, hey, you're a third-round pick for Odell when he went to the Rams, a third-round pick for AB when he went to the Bucks. This is the easiest decision that Joe Douglas has had as a general manager. If that's what it takes, absolute no-brainer, go get Devante Adams. This is easy.
Orlovsky to me is spot on, and the Jets
100%.
have 2 third-round picks. So, Nick, if Devante Adams is traded, he needs to be a Jet. I've remained steadfast in my belief that he will be a Jet if he's traded.
This is why the Jets made that deal during the 2024 draft to acquire that third-round pick. That extra third gives you the extra firepower to make a move like this. And I think Joe Douglas is going to inevitably get this done. I think he has already. I can't confirm it, but I believe he's already offered a third. And if that's the case, it's just a matter of waiting for the Raiders to come back and say, well, we're not going to get our second. The Jets have offered their third. Let's go with the best available deal. And I think that's what inevitably will come out of it in time. I agree with Orlovsky. If it's a third, it's a third. It's Devante Adams for a third is still a steal. Yes, he's over 30, but he's still a very talented receiver. He still helps your offense out a lot. It just makes the most sense.
100%. And look, at the end of the day, does he solve everything? Not necessarily, but you want to try and overcome some of the concerns you have with the offensive coaching. You stack as much talent as possible. Like Allen Lazard leads the NFL in drops. The problem is he's the only wide receiver completely on the same page with Aaron Rodgers, but he can't catch. So if some of these passes are going to Devante, guess what? You might have another win right now, and the entire discussion around this franchise is completely different.
Yes, I look, I get it. I agree. And again, like Adam Schefter said, there are still teams lurking. You look at the Buffalo Bills, certainly a team that is in desperate need of wide receiver help, especially after the injury to Khalil Shakir. Keon Coleman's looked good, but if the Bills were to lose to the Jets and they drop their third straight game, they are going to be desperate. So I would not be surprised if they try to pull the tires out and try to get Adams in a trade. I wouldn't be surprised if the Commanders try to get a deal out of this, because Washington has looked really good offensively. They look like a buzzsaw right now. And they also need some additional wide receiver help outside Terry McLaurin. And then, of course, you have the Chiefs in this conversation as well. They need a wide receiver after the Rashee Rice injury. Do the Raiders want to trade with a division rival? Very unlikely. But if the Chiefs are going to give them more than anyone else, it's certainly a possibility, certainly part of that conversation as well.
Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Will the New York Jets trade for Devante Adams? I'll tell you what, all these other teams that are lurking, monitoring, if the Raiders got that second-round pick they're coveting, he would be traded right now.
It's already gone.
So
it's already gone.
Let's call it for what it is. Devante also could wield some power here, too, by saying, I'm not redoing my deal unless it's for the Jets, and that could neutralize some of the teams willing to trade anything for a rental. Yep.
Changes the whole conversation.
I think that has happened, too, by the way, personally.
I think the reports are true. It's New Orleans and the Jets, and that's why the Raiders aren't budging on this, because they're saying, well, he's given us two teams. He hasn't given us one where it's, I want to go to this team and only this team. He's given us two. So it allows us to wait to see what kind of deal we can get for either side. So the fact that Adams is not all in on coming to the Jets, and he's also putting out the availability for the Saints, changes this negotiation a little bit.
If you're just tuning in, we're talking with Nick Faria in his weekly spot, longtime Jets beat reporter, as we talk all things Jets and what has been one of the crazier weeks in the history of the New York Jets franchise. Send in your comments, send in your super chats, and we will address them on the show. Tyrone starts us off with a $10 super chat. Congrats to the Mets. They started their year off bad, and fans left them for dead, and they won their first playoff DS at Citi Field. Let's hope the Jets can do the same. Go Jets. New York baseball cooking right now. Well,
it's beautiful.
The Mets have been red hot, and the Yankees got bailed out by playoff Giancarlo last night, and a great job by the bullpen. But yeah, I know you're a Met fan, Nick, so I know you're in a happy mood today.
It was incredible. So so Saleh gets fired on Tuesday. I'm dealing with a fever as it's going on. So I'm writing with like 101 degree fever. I'm like, oh Jesus, I can't handle all this. Listen to Woody Johnson, listen to everything else. Then I go with my wife. I take a massive amount of Tylenol, and then we go to game 3. for the Mets. So I'm sitting there huddled in with a sweatshirt and an Eagles hat, just holding on for dear life, making sure I don't pass out. The game goes on. I come back home. I have to write like 3 more articles on that. It has been a whirlwind. Very excited about these New York Mets. They look fantastic.
Comments, questions, super chats. We'll cut the line. Jeff Obrick is speaking, so we will monitor any news that comes out of his press conference. Kyle writes in, Stack wins regardless of play caller. No excuses. Well, that's why, to me, Nick, you make this move now with Saleh, because if he was coaching for his job against the Bills on Monday night, we might just be delaying the inevitable.
There you go. Todd Downing, the new play caller.
There it is.
There you go.
So for everyone telling me, oh, the Hackett's still there, they're not going to make any changes. Not what I was hearing, and not based off of what Obrick said 2 days ago, Rodgers yesterday, Woody 2 days ago. It is the right move. So breaking news, Todd Downing is the new play caller for Monday night going forward. I told you, Nick, there was no scenario where Downing was not calling the plays Monday.
Yeah, listen, I wasn't saying like it wasn't going to happen. It's just based on the turnaround. I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if Hackett would still be in that position. But again, no brainer. When Rodgers gave his blessing to do this, it felt like a no brainer that this was going to inevitably happen. And I wouldn't be surprised. So now everyone has to look at what Todd Downing has done. And Downing is a downfield play caller, wants to run the football, wants to make big plays in the passing game. I think he can fit what Aaron Rodgers does well beautifully. I think he can fit what this offense needs to do. So at the end of the day, this is going to be an improvement simply because he's a little more aggressive overall. And I think that's what the Jets need to show moving forward.
Breaking news, Todd Downing, now the play caller, and Jeff Obrick just announced he is going to remain calling the defensive plays for the Jets. So your thoughts on in now these two moves, right? It's Downing replacing Hackett as the play caller, Obrick choosing to still be the defensive play caller, which to me, that's the right move given where they're at in this season.
Yeah, 100%. And I completely agree with that mindset because, and like I said before, if you just fired Robert Saleh, and that was it, and you didn't make any offensive changes and anything, that was going to be a problem. Because as much as we can talk about Saleh's failings, he is not the only reason why the Jets are 2-3. This offense is anemic, and it has nothing to do with Saleh in that regard. You had to make changes on the offense. Now that you have Robert Saleh replaced for a more aggressive feel of a head coach, a former NFL player, and now that you have Todd Downing replacing Nathaniel Hackett, a little bit more of an aggressive play caller, obviously still with that ground and pound approach, you're looking at a Jets team that could look drastically different than the last few weeks. Even in their victory against the New England Patriots, I think we're going to see a different Jets team, and fans have to feel a lot better about this upcoming game against Buffalo.
Ladies and gentlemen, the breaking news, Jeff Obrick will remain the play caller. Todd Downing will now be the offensive play caller. Also, some injury notes coming from Obrick. It appears like Morgan Moses will be back Monday night against the Bills. That is big for this offensive line, just from a toughness, accountability, and leadership standpoint. I think getting Morgan Moses back out there in such an important game, that is obviously key for this team as well.
The stars are aligning. The stars are aligning. Listen, I'm not going to say this team is a Super Bowl contender yet. They still have a lot to prove. And with interim head coaches in the National Football League specifically, there hasn't been a lot of success. Only Rich Bisaccia has been to the playoffs. And at that point, John Gruden didn't exactly get fired. He resigned on his own accord based on what happened in their investigation with the Washington Commanders. It has happened, though. The St. Louis Blues fired their head coach. And then they brought in a new guy in the middle of the season, and they used that to catapult themselves to a championship run. Not saying that that's going to happen with the Jets, but why not that? Why not this current situation? If Downing and Rodgers can fit, if they can find a way to get this ball moving offensively and get the ability to run the football, there's certainly a possibility here where the Jets could be playing and looking a lot better than they have in recent years.
Todd Downing, new play caller. Jeff Obrick remaining the defensive play caller. That is the breaking news out of One Jets Drive this morning. Morgan Moses expected to be back. Another injury note, Aaron Rodgers will be limited today. Jeff Obrick saying he will be ready for Monday night. So, look, Rodgers is banged up, Nick, and it's kind of a perfect transition here. They got to figure out a way to run the football better. He's banged up because they had to throw the ball 54 times. I don't care how good your O-line is. You're going to get hit when you throw the ball that many times, and they've been trailing in these games, so they have to throw to play, catch up. You have to figure out a way to protect Rodgers and get the running game going.
No, 100%. It starts with the offensive line. It's always going to start with the offensive line. So having Morgan Moses return from injury, certainly helpful. I do want to say another player that's on track to play this week that we aren't really talking about that I think will impact this defense well is Leaky Fotu. Coming off of IR, having an ability to play. The Jets, again, their one problem on defense is their run stuffing ability, and Fotu was brought in exactly for that purpose. So Moses and Fotu being back sort of reinvigorates the trenches a little bit more for New York. I think they're going to be in a very good position here to pull off an upset. Again, a lot of things to fix, a lot of stuff to go over. You're essentially running a smaller game plan overall with an interim head coach and a new play caller. But when you have Aaron Rodgers on the field, and if you can protect him enough, it changes the whole complexion of a game. Really just comes down to that.
Dick Chimney's Burners, the tight end blocking coach by Middleton or Carter?
So it's a little bit of both. Again, it's not always one or the other. It's really kind of both. Carter and Middleton work together to build a cohesive plan. Middleton handles a lot of the blocking techniques on the outside. Carter makes sure that the checks and sometimes blitz pickup is done in that regard. So if you're talking about who is to blame for the poor tight end blocking, I think you should look at both of them.
Hit the like button if you're tuning in. We're talking with Nick Faria in real time. We got the breaking news that Downing will now be the primary play caller on offense for this team going forward, replacing Hackett. Ulbrich remains the defensive play caller. So now it's just about accountability, energy level, coming out faster in games. These are all things that were weaknesses for 4 seasons under Saleh. You hope Ulbrich, who is still a defensive guy, can maybe get the offense to play a lot like how the Jet defense has played, despite, Nick, way less talent on that side of the ball this year than they've had in previous years. I mean, Ulbrich has been definitely their best coach these last couple seasons.
Let's also be frank here. The one thing I've heard about the difference between Jeff Ulbrich and Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh was a great guy. He was a player's coach, a lot like some of these player coaches that, hey, everything's okay. We're going to fix this. And if a player makes a mistake, it's on the coaching staff. It's not on the players. Ulbrich is very similar in that he was a former player, but it's if you made a pre-snap penalty, it's on the player. Get your crap together. And it's sort of that invigoration of personal responsibility and making sure that you're holding yourself accountable, a little more hard-nosed than Robert Saleh, a little more aggressive than Robert Saleh. Those are sort of the differences that I've heard between the two. And I think that fits what the Jets need to fix really, really well. Pre-snap penalties, the mindless mistakes that just infuriates the fan base, infuriates just the casual watcher of these games. They need someone to really just sort of crack the whip sometimes on these players, and who better than a former player himself. I don't think this is a similarity of Mike Singletary when he took over as interim head coach of the San Francisco 49ers in 2009. Brought in a lot of bravado, looked really, really good at times, but then sort of just crashed and burned because the way he was talking to players rubbed people the wrong way, and he was overly aggressive. Ulbrich has a little bit more of a better balance, and I think that's what's going to help him overall.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about this super chat from the Rick Kent, a 20 spot. Boom. I watched Ulbrich's first presser, and it sounded like Nick started to ask a question when one of those bitter old beat guys tried to interrupt him. Nick said, "Excuse me," and continued. Way to stand up to those jerks, Nick. Nick, did this happen?
No, it did not. And this is now the 4th person that's talked to me about the Ulbrich's first press conference. Apparently, there is a reporter that sounds like me. I don't know who it is. It was not me. Like I said, I'm dealing with flu-like symptoms, and I was not in any case, any ability to be able to take a press conference that day. So I'm going to make it very clear. I wasn't there. Whoever it was, give him the flowers. But it certainly was not me. I was writing articles during that time, but it was not me in that interview room.
Well, I'd like to thank whoever it is, because without that, Rick Kent wouldn't have spent $20 to the Jake Asman Chipotle Fund before Yankees game number 4 tonight.
Yeah, listen, maybe there's a doppelganger out there. I don't know. It certainly was not me.
D-Rock, Ulbrich named TD, play caller. How do we feel? TD Finstock is the Jet play. I'm just kidding. Todd Downing, now the play caller for the New York Jets. How do we feel about it? Well, let's ask Jeff Ulbrich about it.
Regarding the staff, after a lot of time to think about it and did not make this decision easily by any means, I'm going to make Todd Downing the play caller for the New York Jets going forward. And this is more a byproduct of a different take on things. I'm not saying it's a better or worse take on things by any means, but just a different take on things, a fresh approach. So ultimately, Todd will have the full say on the game plan and ultimately the plays that are called within the game.
Right move. You got to try something. You can't just get rid of Saleh and then be like status quo on offense when that's been the weakness of the team. So this is 1,000% the right move.
100%, and that's the thing, and it's what I said earlier. If I were the Jets, I'd make this move because you can't fire your head coach and not make changes on the offense. Now, it sounds like, Nathaniel Hackett will be remaining involved in the organization, involving in the game plan process. But certainly, this is Todd Downing's offense now. This is Todd Downing and Aaron Rodgers coming together to build a cohesive game plan to do this. So, this is really the only move they could have made. It'll be interesting to see how this fits with what the Jets want to do offensively in terms of running the football. Maybe they try to spread their receivers out more to get the tight ends off the field so they don't have to block as much. Because like I said, Brendan Bates, Jeremy Ruckert, Tyler Conklin, some of the worst tight end blocking I have seen in quite some time.
I mean, Brendan Bates, dude. You talk about putting a bad game on film. I mean, this is just not NFL worthy, man. Like, what are we doing here? I mean, look at this.
It's ugly, but that's what I'm saying. So, like this second play, the blocks are getting downfield. There's a hole in there for running backs to go. But Bates is just whiffing on some of these blocks, so it's impossible for this offense to get going. That second play, Jake, if we can pull it back up, the offensive lines got at least 4 yards downfield. They have a hole, but it's just that's not the play that I'm looking at.
Right,
it was from another view, probably here. Right here. The all-line has a hole, but Bates whiffs on his block. If he gets his block, if he just gets in the way, it's at least a 6-7 yard gain. It's impossible to be this bad on the football field. They need to stop with this 3 tight end set because whenever you see Bates on the field, the Jets are signaling that they're going to run the football and other teams are attacking it. You need to change this up, and I think Todd Downing will.
We will get back into our conversation with the Nick Faria in just a moment, but today's Jake Asman Show is presented by our brand new sponsor. That's OddsJam, folks. OddsJam is the sports betting software you need to be smart and make money when it comes to your sports betting. I talked about this yesterday. If you don't know what OddsJam is, it's a sports betting software that helps users identify profitable betting opportunities across multiple sports books by analyzing real-time odds and markets. You basically tell OddsJam what state you're located in. They go through all the sports books and find the best bets for you to make. There's multiple types of bets that OddsJam can help you with. Arbitrage betting, positive expected value, that's EV bets, live betting optimization. Users can leverage automated alerts, odds comparisons, advanced analytics to make informed betting decisions. You're going to hear me talk about this a lot, but use code ASMAN so you get 35% off your subscription to OddsJam, and you can enjoy a 7-day free trial. So just use the trial. You'll see what I'm talking about, and then you're going to be like, oh, this is pretty cool. I'm going to give you guys an example on the screen right now. This is what's called arbitrage betting. For those who don't know what that means, very simply, you basically bet both sides of the bet, so you're guaranteed to win money either way. So on your screen right now, I'm just going to use this random Canadians versus Bruins matchup. It will tell you right here, bet and books, which sports books to use, Bet Play and Juice Bet and Bally. These are all legal in New York. So depending on which state you're in, you basically get told what books are legal. And then it will tell you if, let's say, your unit is $100. Hey, bet 100 on this side on the Bruins, bet 50 on the Canadians, and you're guaranteed to win anywhere from $10 to $17. OddsJam is going to tell you what to bet. We're football fans on this show. Let's use Broncos and Saints. That's tonight's Thursday night game. It will tell you, hey, at BetUS, bet Broncos plus 3.5 for 100. Bet the Saints at MyBookie at $80, and you're guaranteed to win between $10 and $19. That's how cool Odds Jam is. So if you want more on this, if you want to try it for yourself and see all the different betting options they have for you, use promo code Asman by going over to oddsjam.com. Click my link in the description. I made it easy for you. Enjoy a 7-day free trial plus 35% off your subscription. All right, let's bring Nick back on the show right now. Nick, some more super chats are coming in, but first, here's more from Jeff Ulbrich at the podium, talking specifically about his involvement in the New York Jets offense.
Right. No, I definitely want to have an influence there as well. So I'm gonna really look hard at this week on how I can find those places to infuse my personality into that side of the ball. From a strategic or from a schematic standpoint, I don't know if there'll be a ton of input, but as far as style of play, absolutely. You know, the way this thing looks on Monday night, I'm hopeful that I can infuse that into them.
Is there something about Todd's?
I just think energy, Nick, that's the biggest thing he can infuse into them. Accountability, like taking ownership of being responsible for your 111. It sounds cliche, but I just think the message from Saleh was starting to be tuned out a little bit. Like this team routinely would come out flat, and defensively that would not really be a problem. I think that's Ulbrich holding his guys to a higher standard than the offensive standard.
I don't know if it was tuned out, but I will say it's okay. It's okay. The pat on the back, the sort of loving embracement when people make mistakes. I don't think it sort of was indicative of success. And sometimes you need to know when to crack the whip. And sometimes you need to be able to understand the difference between cracking the whip and making it instructional and making it helpful, as opposed to just cracking the whip to crack the whip. And I think that's where Jeff Ulbrich comes in and changes things tremendously, because there is going to be an aggressiveness. There is going to be a sort of mean style of play that Jets are going to want to play. I look at it very similarly to how the Bills changed their offensive coordinator last season. Ken Dorsey was a disaster through the first 10 games of the season. The Bills were 5-5. They looked like they were going to miss the playoffs entirely. And then Joe Brady comes in. And Joe Brady came in essentially with an identity of, hey, we have a really aggressive offensive line. We have a really great quarterback. Let's use them. Let's actually use our guys in an aggressive mindset. I think that's a similarity where Ulbrich isn't an offensive mind, but he can still impart his wisdom on what kind of team he wants, and having that shown Monday night.
Super chats coming in. Ace of Spade, how to fix the tight end blocking scheme or personnel?
It's personnel. It's 100% personnel. First off, I will say I never want my tight end blocking a defensive end. I find it one of the more moronic things that offensive coaches try to do in the National Football League now. And it's not just the bad OCs. Kyle Shanahan does it a lot, and it blows up in his face every single time. It's how he lost the NFC Championship game during the 2022-23 season. It really is personnel. If you want to use your tight ends as blockers, you need guys that are big, that are tough, that can be able to reach blocks and be able to just hold the phone, hold firm just a little bit against guys that are going to be bigger than them. And they don't have that. Brendan Bates has been terrible. Jeremy Ruckert has been a disappointment. And Tyler Conklin, really good receiver, but he has been really bad as a blocker too. So this goes back to personnel to me more than scheme.
How about Rick Kent? $20 super chat. Jake, I don't need a reason to support the Chipotle Fund. Love it. Grinch Mob writes in, any chance we go after Devin White?
I wouldn't. Why would you want him? Listen, the Philadelphia Eagles have one of the worst linebacking rooms in the NFL, and they felt Devin White wasn't good enough to start on their team. I mean, this should be a sign that no one should be touching him. He was really good, obviously, early on in his career, but he's way too over the top in some of his plays. He's not the best tackler, not the best guy in pass coverage. You have Jamie and Sherwood, you have Quincy Williams. You've got one of the best linebacker duos in the NFL, and it's pretty damn good. You don't got to worry about getting another one on the field.
Super chat from Indomitable. It's not a coincidence that after Moses and CJ went down, we started playing like trash. Having them active impacts the team's stability immensely. I mean, they're leaders, man. You need your leaders to be leaders this week. It's a crazy week inside the building, but the talent is still there. It's earlier enough where you could easily turn your season around. Hell, you're playing for first place on Monday night.
Listen, I will agree to this with CJ Mosley. Not CJ, Morgan Moses. His impact clearly felt. I thought Olufushanu would look a little bit better than he did, but also, let's be fair, he's playing out of position, and he's a rookie. No one should expect him to look like an all-pro or a Pro Bowl player. It's not fair to him to put those expectations on. But Moses, to me, is incredibly impactful for this offensive line because he helps with the communication. CJ Mosley is a different story, though, because the defense for the last 4 weeks has given up under 20 points. It's not Jamian Sherwood's fault that the team has lost their last 2 games because the offense has given away 6 and hasn't scored a touchdown in the other. So I don't think Mosley is missed as much as people realize. This defense is playing at an elite level still. There are other reasons why outside of Jamian Sherwood, but he's certainly helping that cause.
Dan writes in, this ends the rumor Saleh was fired because he wanted Nathaniel Hackett out. Yeah, Saleh wasn't going to stop. Yeah, Saleh wasn't firing Hackett. He was going to demote him the same way Jeff Ulbrich just did now.
We need to stop with some of these. Like, there are a lot of conflicting reports that
Mike Florio, shut up. Stop spreading anti-Rodgers propaganda because you don't like the guy because he didn't get vaccinated. It's enough.
It's ridiculous. First off, Aaron Rodgers had nothing to do with Robert Saleh's firing. Point blank. And if you want evidence, to show why he wasn't fired, he did not have didn't have an impact on Robert Saleh's job security. He acknowledged Nathaniel Hackett needs to be replaced as a play caller. If Aaron Rodgers is saying we need changes on offense, and yes, it may start with my best friend, and I'm okay with that, and Robert Saleh was going to do it, then Rodgers had nothing to do with Robert Saleh's firing. That was never the case. So that's point number one. And point number two, going back to this, again, people want to have a problem with Rodgers for political and political reasons. The vaccination, the immunization, vaccinated, whatever the difference of that is, we can debate it till the cows come home. Every person I have spoken to, both inside and outside the Jets organization, say that he has been an exemplary leader, an exemplary teammate, just a complete help for the organization. When the Jets say, hey, Aaron, we want your opinion, he gives his opinion. If they say, hey, Aaron, we're going to do this, he says, okay, let's do this. Remember, it sounded like Aaron Rodgers was hoping for a receiver on draft day, but the Jets went and got Olufushanu instead. And Aaron Rodgers was not sitting there complaining. He acknowledged that the team really, really liked Olufushanu over a guy like Brock Bowers, and he was okay with it. I think we need to acknowledge that Aaron Rodgers may not have as much power as people tend to think when it comes to this organization.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nathaniel Hackett out as Jets play caller, will remain on the staff. Todd Downing will replace him. Some other takeaways from the Downing presser just now. Morgan Moses to return for Monday Night Football and start at right tackle. Aaron Rodgers will be limited today, but he will, of course, play on Monday night. Michael Carter has a hamstring injury. His status is up in the air for this game on Monday. Some of the key takeaways from this press conference that just wrapped up. Omari says, hack demoted. That is correct. Who's your daddy writes in, hey, Nate, get your shine box. I don't know what this is in reference to, but thank you for the $10. Who's your daddy? Justin Spencer gifted a channel membership. Click on Justin's name. Turn on gift receipts. You never know who's going to make it rain. There's good news. Hackett's not calling the plays. Someone's going to gift memberships. Bang Mateo. Nick, can we finally call Jeremy Ruckert a third-round bust?
I never like doing this for players in the middle points of their third season. I always say wait until after 3 seasons, but it certainly doesn't look good. He's not been impactful at nearly as much as they were hoping for as a receiver. And like I said, his blocking has just been atrocious. I'm staying steadfast in my belief that people cannot be busts within their first 3 years, but certainly not looking good for Jeremy Ruckert.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, hit the like button. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. If you're one of the 1,015 people tuned in right now, we appreciate your support. It has been a viewership record all week long on the Jake Asman YouTube channel. Reminder, if you haven't already, join the Patreon. Get yourself your name in the intro, Discord access, and, of course, bonus shows that are not on YouTube. If you want more Jets and Jake Asman content, it's patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. Plus, your $5 a month is super helpful in allowing me to continue to do the show full-time going forward. Mark Moose checks in. Brick is going to rock them on defense this week. He has full power. We will break Josh Allen this week. I mean, did you see the quote Josh Allen had, by the way, about being cleared to come back into this game? Very odd. He basically was very vague in that I'm just doing what they told me that I was good to go. I wonder how healthy he truly is. That said, and none of this matters if the Jets can't figure out how to score points offensively because this team just lost to Bo Nix 2 weeks ago.
It really just comes down to that. This defense, you have to trust that this defense is going to figure it out. And I said this about this defense and this defensive staff now for 2 years. They have earned the benefit of the doubt. Yes, there are concerns, there are questions, stopping the run, all these things. All of that is fair game. But they've lost the last 2 games where the defense has held their opponents to under 20 points. Inexcusable. This has nothing to do. The problems that the Jets have nothing to do with their defense. They are playing lights out. DJ Reed is currently looking like the best player on this unit, with Quincy Williams looking like an all-pro again. We need to acknowledge that this defense isn't the problem, period.
Ladies and gentlemen, Todd Downing, the new play caller for the Jets on offense. Jeff Ulbrich remaining the defensive play caller. That's the news of the day in Jet World as we continue to monitor any potential Devante Adams trade. More super chats coming in as we talk with Nick Faria and his weekly spot on the show. Grinch Mom, how much longer do we have to wait for Devante? Well, based on what Schefter said that we talked about this morning on the show already, feels like if it hasn't happened yet, we're now talking about something next week for a potential Adams trade.
Yeah, I would say next week or even potentially near the trade deadline now. I mean, we're still very, very early in this trade process. So with this conversation of what the Jets are going to do with Jeff Ulbrich as head coach, what this offense is going to look like with Todd Downing, those are questions that need to be answered before the Jets are to acquire Devante Adams. On the other side, Derek Carr is still hurt. So the Saints are kind of sitting back saying, we don't have our quarterback right now. Let's hold off on any potential trade to see if we're still in this conversation for the NFC South. So a lot of stuff has to happen. It could happen next week. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets pushed off to the actual trade deadline in a few weeks.
Michael wants to know, can the blocking be fixed?
Yes, it absolutely can. And I will push back and say, when Morgan Moses was on the field, this offensive line looked really good, like really good. So I have to think that the lack of communication, the lack of experience from Olu Fashanu certainly affected this group to begin with. But I do think that they will get better as time goes on. And I do think that if they just get away from having the tight ends be impactful in their run blocking schemes, they can really do some good.
Now, Nick, I don't know how much Fox News you watch, but I was tuned into Fox News yesterday, and I saw this. You think Jeff Ulbrich saw the same thing, and hence he felt like he had no choice but to remove Hackett as the play caller and give the opportunity to Todd Downing?
Listen, man, when you are close to 30 points higher than Kim Jong-un or Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping, clearly something's wrong here, man. Clearly something's wrong. Doesn't surprise me one bit. I mean, threat to world peace, threat to the survival of mankind, throw it all in there. Obviously, I'm joking, but yeah, it hasn't been good. The Nathaniel Hackett era has been a disaster. And last year, the excuse was he didn't have his quarterback, but now he does, and this offense looks just as bad as it was with Zach Wilson leading the helm. So a change needed to be made, and it was.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Faria, weekly spot, talking Jets, reacting to the latest Adams rumors, reacting to Jeff Ulbrich moments ago, saying, see ya, Hackett, at least as the play caller, he will remain on the staff. I think that's where Rodgers' influence comes in, right? You won't get fired because you're my guy, but we got to do something different on offense. We're going to give Downing the chance to call the plays.
Exactly. And listen, there's with him as an interim coach. So last season, there are going to be some comparisons because Nathaniel Hackett is still on the staff. There's going to be comparisons to when the Eagles demoted Sean Desai as defensive coordinator, and they sort of promoted Matt Patricia to be their defensive coordinator. And a lot of people thought that it was a reactionary piece, a very uncharacteristic approach from the organization to, hey, we've had 2 bad games. Let's switch up our play calling because we desperately need a new play caller on defense. Just spur the moment decision that just blew up in the team's face. This isn't that. Jeff Ulbrich is a new head coach. He was not Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh making that decision certainly could have brought that conversation up. But the fact that Hackett is staying with the team is something completely different than what Philadelphia dealt with last season when Desai stayed with the team. He stayed with the team, and it just looked like a dysfunctional mess. This makes more sense because it's, okay, this is a new head coach trying to figure out what can work overall.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's show is also presented by Huga House. If you want the Aaron Rodgers Year 20 hat, they have restocked them over at HugaHouse.com. You could save 15% with the code Asman at checkout. And important to note, you buy 1 hat with Huga House, you get the second hat 30% off. So get the hat that you see Jets players, including Mr. Rodgers, always rocking. HugaHouse.com, promo code Asman for 15% off. More super chats are coming in here. Grinch Mom says, appreciate the answer. Jake just got off the graveyard shift. Jet up, baby. Go Yanks. So instead of jet up now, Nick, we're saying we're bricked up, baby. It's time for the Jeff Ulbrich era to get underway on Monday Night Football.
I mean, again, I'll say this. It hasn't happened before in NFL history. Nothing wrong to believe that it can happen once, can it? Ulbrich has the complete command of this locker room. He has a way of doing things. I wouldn't put it past the Jets to go on a little bit of a run here. Not saying that it's going to be likely. There's a lot of problems to fix on offense. Wouldn't surprise me one bit if Jeff Ulbrich suddenly rights the ship by being a little more disciplined with this roster.
Dick Chimney's burner in the house. Did Hackett ever have success play calling? Didn't call the plays in Green Bay. He didn't. LaFleur did.
He had some success with the Jacksonville Jaguars when they
Correct.
went on that improbable run to the AFC Championship game. Outside of that 1 year, though, it was a disaster. You know, he was gone the next year. It's when you have a relationship with a top quarterback like Hackett did with Aaron Rodgers, it prolongs your NFL career. It does not save your NFL career, as we are learning now.
Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of reaction to those saying they're bricked up in the chat. To that I say, I'm doubling down. I'm bricked up. Grinch Mob goes, copy that. Brick up, baby. Yeah, let's go, baby. It's all happening. Jets football. I smell victory. Dre with a super chat. Our defense will be fine. Need G5 to take over on Monday night and have a breakout game. Hashtag 28 touchdown island. Hashtag where are my haters at? Hashtag y'all must be related to John Cena. Dre, thank you for whatever this is. Your thoughts on Garrett Wilson on Monday Night Football, Nick?
I think it's a matchup that he can exploit. Rasul Douglas, really solid corner. Christian Benford, really solid corner. But if they're going to utilize this passing attack in terms of the Jets, they need to get Garrett Wilson going. You started to see the relationship sort of work later in the game, particularly in the second half between Rodgers and Wilson. Certainly something you could watch and improve for. But to me, Garrett Wilson's not the X factor of this game. It comes down to Breece Hall, and it comes down to this rushing attack. If the Jets can run the football on Monday night, they're going to be in a great position to win this game.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep the super chats rolling here. Those always take a priority response in the comments. Thanks for supporting the show. I truly appreciate everyone out there tuned in. Snowball, I'm glad Ulbrich isn't pussyfooting around the glaring problems with this team. I'm Ulbricht up for Monday night. Let's go Jets. Look, if you're going to fire the head coach 5 games in, that couldn't be the only change. So you knew the play caller change was coming because there were stories about Saleh doing it this week anyway before he found out he was fired. So, look, I don't know if it's going to work. I'm not sitting here telling you Todd Downing is Kyle Shanahan, but it can't be worse than what we've seen. And sometimes that spark, that's why you're doing this so early, because there is too much talent on this team for them to only be 2-3.
And the one constant that we've seen from Todd Downing as a play caller is his groups are very, very good in the red zone, both top 10 in each of the last years that he was calling plays with the Titans. So there could be a sense where, hey, let's just get in the red zone and Downing's going to scheme something up that we can use for success. Now, In Tennessee, he had Derrick Henry. But now with the Jets, you have Braylon Allen, you have Breece Hall. I think you're going to be seeing a lot more runs and downfield runs specifically. That's going to help this offensive line out tremendously.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with Nick Faria, Jets beat reporter, weekly spot. Make sure you guys follow Nick on Twitter at Nick_Faria1720. Omari with a super chat. So much chaos this year. And how did Todd do in Tennessee? I hope we turn the ship around. I mean, in 2021, they were the 1 seed in the playoffs that year. Downing in the regular season that year had a top 5 offense. Now, Derrick Henry was crazy that season. Tannehill was playing well. I'm not trying to sell Jet fans on Downing being like this offensive guru, but the bar is so low with Hackett that just doing something, getting someone who's a little better with Rodgers being bought back into what they're doing here, that's enough for this offense to turn around and be competent.
24 points. Can you get your offense to score 24 points? That's around the league average. If you can get 24 points, you're going to be in a good position to win the game with your defense playing the way they have. It is that simple. That simple. Get to 24 points. Downing can do it. And I think he has shown during his time in Tennessee that he can. Obviously, his last year with the Titans wasn't exactly the greatest. I tend to think that's more about the Titans getting rid of A.J. Brown more so than anything else.
That, another year older of Henry, Tannehill regressed.
They gave away to one of their best players. Like that's going to change an offense.
Yeah, we saw that with Rodgers without Devante that last year in Green Bay too.
There you go.
Here's some stats on Downing, courtesy of our guy, Matt O'Leary. Todd Downing with the 2021 Titans. They went 12-5, points for 15th, yards 17th. They had 5 games of 30-plus or more points, 13 games of at least 20-plus points. Ryan Tannehill, 3,734 yards, completion percentage of 67%, 21 touchdowns, 14 picks, 89.6 rating. Rushing offense, they only had 8 games of Henry that year because he got hurt. They had 2,400 yards. That was 5th. They were number 1 in the NFL in rushing attempts. 23 rushing touchdowns, which was 3rd that season. 4.4 yards per attempt. The other stat I saw about Downing is that his teams have been good in the red zone. Zach Rosenblatt had that stat. I will try and pull it up here, but my computer is a little slow. Let's see. Here it is. Notable Todd Downing stat. Red zone conversion rates. In 2022, they were 6th. In 2021, they were 8th. Now, that team had Derrick Henry, who's probably one of the greatest, goal line backs of all time. So, obviously, that factors in here. But, once again, it can't be worse than what we've seen from Nathaniel Hackett.
I will say this. I don't think Todd Downing is some great play caller. That's not what I'm saying. I think he's about average to maybe a little bit below average. If I were to give him a grade of play callers in the NFL now, I'd probably put him somewhere at like 18, 19, maybe even 17. Nathaniel Hackett is number 32. So no matter where he is on your list, I think everyone can confidently say he is an improvement off of what happened and what this offense was looking like before. So even, again, like I said, even if it's a 7-point difference, a 3-point difference, those are ways that the Jets can win these games. So pretty simply put, Downing statistically has always been better than Hackett, and I think he can help this offense out in a big way.
JJ writes in, Dre hasn't called in since Saleh fired. Interesting. Not true. He tried, but his internet was terrible, JJ. Here for the memes writes in, Jetville is wild. Do you think there's now more to the infamous hug story now that Saleh's gone? Also, let's say we miss on Adams. Do we target another receiver? Real quick, Nick, Huggate, I mean, to me, that to me was a nothing burger.
It's still a nothing burger.
Yep.
It was and still is a nothing burger. Robert Saleh is no longer the Jets head coach, not because of anything that happened with Aaron Rodgers. It was because his team was undisciplined and they came out flat in 2 games he needed to win. Unacceptable. Woody Johnson made it clear to him that those losses were unacceptable, and they didn't have an answer. So yes, and like I said, Robert Saleh wasn't the only reason this firing happened, and the Jets have struggled to 2-3 start, but he certainly didn't help matters either, and that's why this change was made.
Ladies and gentlemen, Daytona Joe, who is out in London with me and the Asmaniacs in the house. People need to stop yelling for Woody to sell. He has spent the money. He stayed out of the way. There are some horrific owners in the NFL. Woody isn't one of them. Look, he's not a good owner because they haven't won, but I will say this for Woody. I agree with the decision to make this move with Saleh now, because if you were going to go out there and wait till after the Bills game and you lose that game, you're 2-4. To me, you make it now when you have an extra day to do this. This team has come out flat the last 2 weeks. It's now or never, man. You're playing for first place. There is a ton of talent on this team. But look, what to me makes a good owner is you hire the right people and stay out of the way. They haven't had the right people, but at the beginning of Woody's tenure, they did. They were a playoff team in 01, 02, 04, 06, 09, 10. They've never had back-to-back losing seasons from 2000 to 2016. So it has been bad, and ownership sure gets the blame. But at least for where we're at right now, like, this team is certainly talented enough to win. And I think last year, Nick, Woody was kind of in a really tough spot with why didn't you just get rid of Saleh now? Because Aaron Rodgers publicly endorsed Robert Saleh. So it would have been then tough to step in and say, no, I'm actually firing the guy, when Rodgers came out and threw support behind the head coach and obviously the offensive coordinator.
I think it's, again, I kind of go back and forth on this. I think Woody Johnson certainly had evidence to fire Robert Saleh. But I also don't like firing coaches in the middle of the season because turnarounds happen. 2-3 is not 0-5. It's not 1-4. And I think that's a distinction that's kind of gets lost in this conversation. There was still plenty of time to right the ship. And if Robert Saleh was going to change play callers, I would have liked to have seen what difference that could have been against Buffalo with him still in charge. So again, I don't want to say that the Jets were wrong to make this move. There was clearly enough evidence to show that this was not working. But I also understand that 2-3 isn't the end of the world. So firing a coach like this looks dysfunctional because you're not giving the group a chance to make the changes they feel necessary.
Nick, before we get out of here, final thoughts on the state of the Jets going into this game on Monday night, now that we have the news that broke during this stream. Downing, new offensive play caller. Obrook remaining the offensive play caller. Morgan Moses and Lecky Fotu expected to be back in the lineup for this game on Monday as well.
It would be the most Jets thing ever. And I've only been on this beat for 2 years now. I'm still very, very new to Jet-isms and everything that happens with this franchise. But for the most part, I've understood this. It would be the most Jets thing ever for the Jets to fire their head coach, everyone to call them a dumpster fire, everyone to talk about how terrible a situation this is, and to replace their play caller less than a week away, and they go out on Monday night and they beat the Bills and take over first place in the AFC East. It would be the most Jets thing ever for that to happen. I like Ulbrich as a guy. I like him as a coach. I think his no-nonsense approach will help this team going forward. I do think there are still some questions to be answered on game day about play calling and the systems on offense that are currently failing left and right. But if there's a time for this team to move, it's now. And the first year, the interim head coaches, their record in their first overall game, it's a lot better than people think. So I think there's a very good chance that the Jets could be surprising some people on Monday night.
Nick, where can people find you?
Nick_Faria 1720. It's a Twitter handle down there. Give me a follow. Again, guys, apologies for the voice. Still recovering. So appreciate all of you guys for jumping on and appreciate everyone for the support.
We have over 1,100 people in here. Make sure you guys all follow Nick. Nick, I will talk to you soon. Appreciate your time as always.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Nick Faria in his weekly spot. Gusbuster Hotline is pinned in the comments if you want in on the conversation. One thing that immediately needs to be cleaned up with Todd Downing now calling the plays is the Jets' lack of running game. In their 2 wins this year, they ran for over 100. In their 3 losses, they averaged less than 3 yards per carry. It has been a combination of missed blocks, missed assignments, guys just not identifying the hole, whether that be Brees or Braylon Allen, tight ends, linemen struggling, protection adjustments not being there. Whatever the case may be, they have to fix the running game. The premise of this season was this was a run-first team where Aaron Rodgers would be disgusting off play action and carve you up. The whole point was Brees Hall would be what Terrell Davis was to John Elway at the end of his career. Brees would be that for Aaron Rodgers. The running game needs to get going, and I'm going to play you guys something that's a tough watch, but Downing's seeing the same thing, and now it's on him to rectify the offensive line and the running game.
Brees Hall has 65 runs, 31 of the 65, 2 yards or less. Let's look at the issues. All 1st and 10 runs where you want 4 yards on first down. All right, here we go. Right there is a bad mesh. All right, left guard center, bad mesh, penetration. What does that do to Brees? He's got to cut it back. He's running away from color. Is a bad backside cutoff. Nowhere to go. All right, let's look at another one. This is outside zone. It's their bread and butter out of a shotgun. It's their number one play they got to make work. So let's just see what they do right here. Again, there's no movement. And on the backside, they're just backside position blocking right here. So now there's no movement at the point, and the backside is position blocking, and there's no place to go. Shows up every week. Now, you watch this right here. I believe they should be full scooping this onside. Nobody blocks 56. So I think they should be taking this front side. This whole play everybody should be coming. Like Tippmann should be coming, okay? Vera Tucker should be coming. Instead of the outside, this guy is running free. All right? He's going to show right up in the hole, and Brees got to run away from it. No place to go. All right, let's go against New England right here. If you don't get the second level blocked, you're not going to have a successful play. So that's McMillan, number 50. Let's just see how they do this here. They secure, there's no movement, all right? No movement at all. Now, you can stretch a run. You can stretch it, but you got to get the second level blocked. Nobody gets to the second level, and he makes a tackle on Brees. They got to get this corrected. In London, here we go. Too much position blocking right here. Like, nobody's knocking anybody off. Denver is winning right at the point of attack. Look at the left guard. Look at the right guard. They're catching these blocks, and they're getting stoned right here. All right? Like, there's no movement. Now, Brees sees this. He sees this penetration right here. It's an inside zone. But he sees color's got to cut back. And everybody is getting beat. And it's not looking good. If they want to get this offense humming, stop talking about Aaron. Like, let's get Brees Hall going. That's where it's going to turn around.
He's right. Like, that's where this all starts, man. Here's another reason why Nathaniel Hackett needed to be out. This was Dan Orlovsky the other day on his Twitter account breaking down the offense.
I got a lot of issues with what happened in the Jets-Vikings game, specifically today with the Jets' offensive performance. Get into that tomorrow morning on Get Up. But 4th and 2, you're trying to get something going on offense. You just went for it on third down. You know Minnesota's defensive line is great. Okay, here's my biggest gripe with this whole situation. It's 4th and 2. The ball is getting snapped on the 26-yard line, right? 26-yard line. The back, so it has to get to the 24.5, so a yard and a half too. The back is lined up on the 34-yard line, so he's 8 yards behind the actual line of scrimmage. 9.5 yards to the first down marker. Okay, remember, he's got to get to the 24.5. He's going to get the ball. He gets the ball. He is still 8.5, 7.5 yards till the first down marker. 7.5 yards? I mean, he's 7.5 yards from actually getting the football to where he has to get to. There's no justifiable, logical reason to do that. You think that guy makes that play if the back is here? No. And then at least it's one-on-one with the guy in the hole with Braylon Allen. I mean, look how deep he's lined up. No sense.
I mean, that's why Todd Downing's calling the plays on Monday. You couldn't continue with Hackett. I mean, these are hard watches, man. Doesn't need to be this hard. Jeff Ulbrich making the right move here. All right? I'm bricked up now. Let's go.
Today. Hold my fist. Make it come to life. You control that. You love this game? Demonstrate that shit by how hard you strain. And the passion you play with, guys. When you make a play or your teammate makes a play, celebrate that shit today. Celebrate it. Mind. Execute. Don't make shit up. Guys, trust your training. Trust your training. And then fist. In the fourth quarter, these flinch and they tap on us. Remember this, guys. A teammate, I'll die for. My brother, I'll kill for. Let's kill for today. Let's break this down. Let's go. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Kill on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Let's go, baby. I'm bricked up. Hey, you guys want some exciting news involving the Jake Asman Show? Fireman Ed will be joining us today at 4 p.m. Normally on Friday mornings, Ed had something that came up, so he will join us during the afternoon stream today to react to Saleh out, Obrick promoted, Hackett down, Downing promoted. Let's go, man. Some super chats coming in. Omari says, why does Mita Kimes have so much negative to say about the Jets and Aaron? Well, I mean, to be fair to Mita, the Jets have not exactly given a whole lot of positives. That said, the Jets are being clowned by everyone for firing Saleh. I think it's kind of funny because these are the same people who are saying how bad of a coach Saleh is, and then they fire him, and it's, how could they do it? The bottom line, though, remains this. Win on Monday and shut everyone up. All the attention will be on the Bills if the Jets win on Monday, by the way. What's wrong with the Bills? They were 3-0. What's happening? Is Sean McDermott's seat hot? It should be. Sean McDermott going to give his team the pregame speech using 9/11 to fire up the Bills before this game on Monday? What a joke that was. Amazing how that story just got swept under the radar. Trying to live. Prod. $20 super chat. Bang! Bang! By the way, I didn't get to see any of it because I was watching the Yankees and the Mets live yesterday. But how good did Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns look yesterday at MSG? Oh, baby. Too much happening in sports right now. Why is JD so quiet throughout all this? And also, if we had our first play call with LaFleur, I think our offense would be much better. I agree with the last part, but I mean, that's 2 play callers ago now. So, it's not even worth being like, what would Rodgers look like with Mike LaFleur? Well, maybe similar to what he looked like with Matt LaFleur, where he was winning 2 MVPs. Douglas is not required to speak, so he doesn't. He didn't speak at all last year when he should have been the one answering the questions about the quarterback that he drafted and the lack thereof any backup after Rodgers went down. He didn't speak. He won't unless he's required. That's why. He should have. I thought he should have spoke this week, but what he did instead. All right, to your calls we go. Let's say hello first up to Justin Spencer on the Gusbuster hotline today. What's up, Justin?
Hey, Jake. How's it going?
What's up, man?
I'm from PA. Been a Jets fan for 5-ish years, I guess.
How's that going for you?
Yeah. Yeah, we're always the butt of the joke. What fumble? But yeah, it's a curse.
That was
I guess
before your time. You said only 5 years.
Well, I guess it's been longer than that. I feel bad for Saleh, but needed to happen. New coach. Arbrick seems like a good guy. Hopefully he can steer us in the right direction.
I hope so.
Yeah. I've also never been to a Jets game either. So hopefully one day I can get to New York and watch them play.
I hope that you get to as well.
Yeah, that would be cool. If I could sit like in the end zone, that'd be one in a lifetime experience.
What if you were at the 30-yard line? Would that not be one in a lifetime?
I'd be all right with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd be all right with that. Or something else.
Yeah, what else is on your mind?
Devante, would you get rid of Corley, like, within the trade?
If it would cost me less draft capital, I'd consider it.
Okay. I feel bad for him because I know they got him, and they just, I don't know, they just decided not to use him, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually have been watching your stream for a while, and this is my first call.
What took you so long?
I'm not a big camera person, so
what are you up
but
to the
yeah,
rest of
keep
the
up.
day?
I have to work today.
What do you do?
I take care of people. I'm a DSP. It's a care aide, basically. I take care of people with disabilities.
Wow, very nice.
It's all right. It's not something that people tell me I'm good at it, but it's not a real glorious job.
I see.
Maybe one day I could do, something like this. Even though, like I said, I don't like, being on camera.
You want to be a talk show host?
Possibly, yeah. I like sports. I'm a big basketball. Basketball's first, but football's second. Baseball's all right.
What would be the name of your show? The Justin Spencer Show?
I would call it the Jams Show. Those are my initials.
The Jam Show. What's your middle name?
I have two. My middle names are Eric and Michael.
Justin, Eric, Michael, Spencer?
Yeah.
I mean, this sounds like an electric show.
Thanks. I'll keep that in mind for the future, and yeah, maybe it's something I can get into.
I hope so, Justin. I hope you stay with it, man. I see the vision. I do.
I appreciate that.
Anything else you'd like to share with the class?
Yes. Let's win this game. You've beaten Buffalo. You can't start slow. You can't come out flat, which I don't think they will, but let's keep the vibes high. And I probably will call in another time. Y'all
Please
take it
do.
easy. Peace.
Hey, Justin, give us a jet chant on your way out of here. All right.
Yep. Ready? Jets! 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 Jets!
There he is, baby. Justin, Eric, Mike, Spencer. Or I think it was, I don't know, you had two middle names? Now that was a great first time call. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the show, buckle up. It just gets better and better.
B-Mac, look at my TV. B-Mac, I love Aaron Rodgers. Jets, go Jets.
Hey Jake, long time no see. Yeah, I just had to get to work real quick, so I just want to properly come on. But first of all, very optimistic about this move. I think Todd Downing is going to get the offensive spark, just like Joe Brady gave Buffalo offensive spark last year or so. And then the other thing is that Paul Boyd Green had Ty Dunn on, and I was on, I popped on, and he wrote an article that Rodgers is washed and is the beginning of the end. And like, do you like what's with this Rodgers being lost? Like, do people forget he was good against the Patriots and the Tennessee Titans? Like,
Yes, I think people do forget. I mean, he hasn't looked good the last 2 weeks. I mean, 2 weeks ago, no one looked good against Denver, and he had a bad game against Minnesota. But despite all that, there's still some plays that the Jets left out there. I mean, there's no running game right now, and if Allen Lazard didn't drop 4 balls, they maybe win that game. Like, and one of the pick sixes doesn't happen, or the only pick six doesn't happen if on the previous play Lazard catches the pass that would have gave the Jets a new set of downs. So Rodgers wasn't good, but he's still good enough for them to win with the defense playing as well as it is right now. Like he maybe he's not an MVP at age 40, but yeah, I don't think he's not a top 12 quarterback anymore. I still think he could do that.
Yeah, I just think that, run the football, man. I think the offensive line needs to do a lot better run blocking. Hopefully Todd Downing and, King can get that fixed too. But get back to running the football. Don't have you 40-year-old hard quarterback throw 54 times, because that's asking for a big disaster. Get back to running the ball, take the pressure off of Rodgers, and let Rodgers cook off of the run game with the play action and all that stuff. Like he did when he won his back-to-back MVPs. But I do got faith in him that he will bounce back. And I do think this team's going to have a new energy on Monday, and I do think they can beat the Bills, and it will beat the Bills.
B-Mac, from your lips to God's ears.
B-Mac. Hey, you hater guy. Allen sucks and JJ can kiss my ass before I wipe.
Hey, quick reminder, this show's available in podcast form on either Apple or Spotify. So if you want to take the show on the go, search the Jake Asman Show wherever you get your podcast. All right, let's continue right now with more of your calls on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline. Please click that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel. We hit over 39,000 yesterday. Right now we have 1,000 people watching. There's no way all 1,000 of you are subscribed. What are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button on the right and help support this channel. We continue right now with your calls.
Scott calling in. Whoa, what's the matter? What the hell is that?
Hello, Scott.
What's up, Jake?
Hair looks good today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's. No one thinks so, but I appreciate it. You're probably the only one.
No,
all due respect.
I needed some pineapple Scott this morning.
I am sweet and all, it's I got plenty, but that's what we're doing. Like I said, but Mr. Spencer was wonderful. I mean,
I feel like you two should maybe co-host that show he was thinking about doing.
Oh, that would be great. If we could throw in like a little lane train just to keep it rolling, I think it would be a tremendous opening for YouTube worldwide. I mean, who could stop that show? Yeah,
great point.
Anyway, anywho, like I said, I believe was the right move. When you have a team that says, "Hey, I'm tired of hearing this crap over and over," and those are your star players, there's some dissension into the clubhouse. Nothing against Mr. Saleh, great guy. I mean, we all say that, we all believe it. Best of luck to your career, just not against us. But come on, the play calling has to stop. Hackett isn't cutting it. I mean, you watch the game tape, you watch Baldy or Ozlowski bring it down. It's not even close to what's being run in the NFL. That's first. And you're asking guys like, where does Bates come in as far as personnel? Like, that's what we thought. Okay, this guy who we've never even seen comes in, misses every block, and he comes in play after play. So okay, Saleh's gone, Brick's taken over, Downing's the offensive coach. Now that's where it starts, because you have all the media that said, well, if they just get rid of their coach, what has changed? Give it 24 hours. It's a start. And finally, we're moving in the right direction as far as, okay, we still have the talent. We're 2-3, have a shot to win first place. These things I believe are fixable. And you could say within a week, no, all right, but come on. You got guys that are, look at our line. They're just way off base, off balance. Not even just riding a block. Nothing up the gut. We don't even run outside. We're missing passes. The defense has been fine. No JJ Redick. I don't even know I don't even want to talk about that. No.
Well, he's coaching the Lakers.
Yeah, probably. Maybe he'll
No,
play
he
for
is.
LeBron. Maybe LeBron.
He's the head coach.
Yeah, probably. LeBron too. He can coach too.
No. He actually is the Lakers coach.
Sure. Hey, maybe that Mr. Spencer could be his first interview. That would be a treat. But through it all, you look at the talent. That call is just awesome. I thought it was like Lane Train. I thought it was Gator like everyone else. It was just phenomenal. He's got to get back here. I mean, Hamburger would just spice him up a bit, He's always ready to go. Maybe Neil with a cigar could inject a little energy into him, which our offense needs. I'm sorry, I really don't have much to say. I just detest the media. I detest all that crap.
You've said a lot today, Scott.
Yeah, nothing really important. But here's the thing: we're this
What is
bad.
the thing? Tell me, Scott.
We're 2-3. Our offense is in shambles, really. Just from the onset, we never have a lead, or we're even in contention. We're always behind. Our quarterback's throwing 54 times with Braylon and Brees back there. We still have a shot to beat Buffalo, which we have played well against, for the most part. Allen's going to do his thing, but I don't see Buffalo as a great team. I think there's a lot of parity in this league. I'm not talking record-wise. You see a lot of bad play. I mean, players don't play like they used to in the play a full game, then 3 quarters and a half. You have a lot of players that haven't played. You see a lot of blown coverages, a lot of interceptions between the hash marks and the numbers. They try and stick it through, almost pure progression, which I don't like at all. I like splitting it down the field, half and half. Our concept on either side, which one do I like?
Scott, let me ask you something.
Sure.
Would you say you're bricked up?
Yeah. Because finally, it looks like we have our locker room back, and it's not just being a tough guy and being, it's football. You have to be physical. I mean, if you need a pep talk to tell you you're going to go out there and put your body on the line and you could get knocked out, and it's serious. You look at the guy with Hamlin last year from Buffalo. Scary stuff. You need someone to tell you that you need to go shake your hips a little bit with a little Shakira. That sounds.
Oh yeah. No, we are. Oh yeah.
You got to get that going. But another thing I thought of too. I don't know. I was looking at the merch store, and I don't know if you have it in the works, or I just didn't see it. I looked at everything, like the baby jumpers, the camouflage hats, the percentages, the pink stuff, everything. Wouldn't it be great, because it's universal and it's capitalism? I don't think you can go wrong. If V-Man was on his throne giving historical knowledge, just hear me out. If Bobby's saying hello, anything else, Mr. Turner, get well balloons. Kids could call in from the hospital, or if there's a party, they're not feeling good, maybe favorite as Maniac could spice it up a bit for them.
I like it.
If they didn't see the if Charles' exploit tongue doesn't make you try and feel better, I guess you're not going to. Either you take Charles's tongue. I just get well balloons. I was just at a store just thinking like what was missing potentially. You can't go
So
wrong
you would
with
buy
it.
you would buy Jake Asman get well balloons?
Oh, yeah, you get all your favorite as maniacs there.
Sure.
I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, like I said, if B-Man's contemplating world history on his throne, it's either you got to look at that balloon or you got to feel better. It's one of the two,
All right, Scott.
But,
well, you said a lot today. I would say your hair is bricked up. I'm excited.
Yes, we're bricked up, ready to go. Our defense is loaded. We just need a little offensive prowess, and maybe this is the magic spark our offense needs. Who knows?
Oh man, you're really scared of Scott. That hair is fucking crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Scott. Hit the like button if you're watching the show live and you haven't already. Let's continue with your calls right now. Let's say hello to the Hamburger. Hello, Hamburger. Congrats to your Mets.
Thank you. Bravo on the calls today. Bravo on the calls today. Unbelievable. Is there a full moon out?
This is just the first show on the day, too. We got Fireman Ed later on.
Jeez, man. Let me just touch on first, my heart and prayers are going out to everybody in Florida right now. That's a tough situation out there. I do have family out there. So far, I think everybody's all right. So, but yeah, man, went last night to the game. Hell of a win. Let me tell you, man, when Lindor hit that home run, it's hard to hear on TV, but the sound that place let out when that home run was hit, I mean, it choked me up. At the end of the game, Diaz, the strikeout, everybody around me was crying. I had tears in my eyes. Watch it this morning, had tears in my eyes. Man, what a great feeling. And, if you're not a Met fan and you're a Jet fan, like us Met fans kind of know what it's going to feel like, hopefully, that we kind of get vindicated from being that, that shitty franchise that finally gets that win. So it's a good feeling, and I really hope our Jets get there. So I just want to talk a little on Saleh. I think the decision for Woody was made when he watched his press conference on Monday. I mean, I think he looked scared. He looked like he didn't know what to do. I think Woody took that and was like, okay, I think that's enough to make me make my decision. I think he called Aaron that night. I think he talked to Joe Davis. I think they both knew about it. I think Aaron, he has to. I think he fibbed a bit on it. I think he really knew. But, I'd like to see that now we're getting Mosley, what's his name, back. Moses back this week. That should really make the offensive line tick again. Ever since we lost him we looked great in New England. I mean, he went down, and that's what we get. We get missed blocks. Everybody's off. No communication. No run game. I don't know, man. I really hope Ulbrich comes out tonight, this weekend, puts up a different game plan, and we take the win. We take first place, and we're all in happy land. Yankees win. Could be a really great week coming up, man. Or it could be miserable for us Jets fans. So
look, if they win Monday, it quiets down a lot, Hamburger. That's the bottom line. And they're in position to do it. You're trying to spark the team. You're making the change at play caller. And for those curious, I had heard this from a couple people I trust. Todd Downing called plays this summer in training camp. It wasn't just Hackett. They gave Downing opportunities at practices to be the primary play caller. I would like to shout out someone in the chat right now. There's a guy in the chat named Vito. He says, yeah, screw the Yankees, Jake. Take that crap off a Jetstream. Vito, I would like to remind you, the name of the show was called what? So I think I can wear whatever hat I want on the Jake Asman show. Because, well, I think a lot of Jet fans are Met fans. There's also a ton of Jet Yankee fans. So, Vito, we will see you in 5 minutes.
All the pieces come together in a season, it can be absolute perfection, folks. Because that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the Jets, led by Zach Wilson, will fucking suck ass, guys.
All right, let's continue with your calls right now. Let's say hello to Indy Jets. Hello, Indy.
Jake, hey, I got connections today. We're still dealing with a lot of the hurricane issues here in Western Carolina. So, it's been a couple days since I've been able to call in. But I have to tell you, I will give Saleh a 20-year contract to be the head coach of the Jets if I never have to see Allen wearing his boy-sized medium fraud self on your show again.
I agree. He's a fraud. All right.
And speaking of frauds,
but I'm a capitalist. All right. So if he wants
absolutely
to give me 10 memberships, I have to accept him. I need money.
Absolutely. And then you followed it up with Gary. And I'm like, I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I tried to call in and my internet was so bad. I just had to start drinking. But, I looked at Jets. Oh, gosh. You're going to get some membership. I'm going to gift you some membership so we don't have to do that again.
You know what? I'll throw Alan in the hole for 5 memberships. I'll do it right now. Well, you won't have him on any of the shows the rest of the day for 5 memberships.
Okay, I'll do that as soon as I get off here. Well, I can't. If I do that, then it shuts my stream off. I'm on my mobile phone.
No, you're good. Yeah, I don't think you could gift from the phone anyway, so you're fine.
Yeah, I do it. I've done it several times.
I guess it's just an iPhone thing. Never mind.
Yeah. Androids, we can do whatever we want,
right.
But when Tom Brady was off for a year and Peyton Manning was off for a year, they both lost Game 5 really bad.
I did not. I mean, Denver was 2-3 in Manning's first year there.
Yeah, and they lost Game 5, and then Brady lost Game 5. But Game 6, when they both came back, Brady threw for 6 touchdowns, and Manning threw for 3 and 350 yards. Game 6. Rodgers is going to come back Game 6 Monday night, and all this is going to be water under the bridge now, and the Jets will be in first place come Monday at 11:30.
Sign me up for that, Indy Jets. Now, before you go, there's someone on the line who I need to introduce you to. Gary, what's going on?
What up, y'all?
Gary!
What up, Indy Jets? My dude, how are you?
I think we're making it here, bud. We're making it here. We're still struggling with a lot of the devastation here in Western Carolina, but you know what? I still got my Jets.
We always got the Jets. Always got the Jets.
I think Gary that you're being a little too harsh on Joe Douglas. Your hair's a little tight today.
He's Joe Douglas is well, here's what I can say. Reddick's not here. Brock Bowers isn't here. Devante Adams isn't here.
Brock Bowers, who?
2 and 3.
Did somebody say Brock Bowers?
Did somebody say Brock Bowers?
Did somebody say Brock Bowers?
Brock Bowers isn't here. Devante Adams isn't here. And we can't move the ball. You could thank Joe Douglas for that.
The whole deal with Reddick is this at this point is on Reddick. It's none of it is on Joe Douglas.
Why did Joe Douglas trade for him? Look, you should talk to someone before you invest millions of dollars into him. I just think that's
you don't think he did. You think he just woke up one morning?
I don't know what happened, Indy. I mean, I don't know how you can be this far off if you had a conversation. I don't like if I talked to you and you said you're set to make $14 million. Are you happy with that? No, I want $30 million, or I'm not showing up. Like, that's your right. I'm not going to give you $30 million. So you're not going to show up, so I'm not going to trade for you. Like, I think that's a reason.
Warning! Allen alert! Shit's about to get ugly, folks. Warning! Allen alert! Hide the children.
Hey, stupid! Yes. Why do you hate me so much? Hey, stupid! Why? Because I was right.
You're right. All right.
I was right. Say
you're right. What are you right about?
I was right. Just say it.
I haven't heard anything you've been right about yet.
Was I right about the coach?
He was probably right about Saleh. He probably was.
Was I right about the coach?
Was you right about the coach not being as Bill Belichick in New England coach?
Ago, buddy.
Yeah.
I said
was you right about
2.5 years ago, buddy?
How good was Belichick without Brady?
I'm not talking about Belichick. I'm talking about Saleh.
So you're expecting Saleh to be
on this stream that killed me because I said this guy was a fraud.
Yeah, and Belichick was a fraud.
Indeed, Jet. If you had a choice to hire
Belichick was hold on now. Belichick was a fraud in Cleveland, but then when he actually had a good team, when he actually had Brady, he was the best coach in history. But then when Brady's gone,
Rodgers and he couldn't do shit.
He had Rodgers for 5 games.
Saleh, you thought that this was a good coach?
I'm telling you, he had.
Hold on.
He had Zach Wilson. They struck out on Zach Wilson.
You think he's a good coach?
By the way, who drafted him? Number 2 overall. The worst pick of
you know
all
what?
time.
And GMs miss on quarterbacks sometimes. It happens.
No other GM missed like that and kept his job.
Hey, Indy, you think he's a good coach? Would you hire him as a head coach?
Who's the GM of out in San Francisco that Trey Lance is not playing for anymore?
Yeah, but they rectified
No,
it.
no,
They
but you just asked me who did it. I mean, what did San Francisco give up to get Trey Lance? That's no longer on the team.
They rectified it.
A bunch of firsts. I think 2 firsts, I think, and plus their pick.
Exactly.
2 and then theirs, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
right.
that was even worse than just drafting Zach Wilson.
But they got lucky with Brock Purdy, right?
Hey, Indy, would you hire Robert Saleh as a head coach?
If I had a competent quarterback, yeah.
Then you know what? You have proven you are a moron.
You
Okay.
have Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers isn't just a capable quarterback. He's a top
You're
5
telling
quarterback to ever walk.
he had Aaron Rodgers for 5 games.
And Aaron Rodgers couldn't wait to get him out of there.
Have I
Let's go.
I'm just kidding. I'm back. But man, Indy was in a tough spot there, folks. All right, that was a 2-on-1. Oh man. What a moment in time. What a show this has been, huh? If you're new around these parts, welcome. More calls. Let's say hello to Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
Show's off the rails. Totally
We're
off
ready,
the rails.
baby. The season's alive.
This is my homage to Coach Brick right here.
I love it. Are you bricked up?
I'm all bricked up. So I think there's something to be said for having a new voice. After a period of time, you go through all this losing 3.5 years, and you change some of the players, and you're in the locker room. You see that nothing really changes. I think that there's something to be said. I think Pat Riley had something about that in one of his books, like the voice. Sometimes you have to change the voice. Like if you look with Buffalo, they've been winning for the better part of 3 or 4 years now, and you're starting to see a couple of cracks. Did you see how they happened to lose that game last week when they were backed up to the 3 and they threw on 3 consecutive downs, and then they had to punt, and they gave up the game-winning field goal in regulation? It was insanely bad coaching by McDonough. So, like this, I think that bringing in someone like Downing, who's been successful with a run-first approach, we know that Carter has at least had experience blocking in some of Downing's favorite plays, some of his favorite schemes. I think that we might have been kind of mismatched there for a little bit. There might be something to be said now that we've transitioned over to a power scheme. We can kind of take a step back, take a deep breath, reset, and go forward under this new voice, which is Coach Brick.
Look, at the end of the day, if Aaron Rodgers is protected and they can figure out a way to run the ball a little better, like the defense has played well against this quarterback. So like I would expect the Jets to have a great chance to win on Monday. And I think the spark is what they need. I think Saleh was beaten down, man. Like how Ulbrich looks and sounds is how, we thought Saleh was going to be with that all gas, no break, like mantra. I think it's an energy thing too that he provides. Like I do think this team's going to play with their hair on fire on Monday.
Right. And one thing about Joe Douglas that the other callers were just talking about, everyone was taking Zach Wilson at 2 in that draft. Anyone who would have had that pick probably would have taken him at that spot.
Yeah, the issue is to me not taking him. It's
not developing him.
Yeah, the development, sure, but also like the backup quarterback situation last year. Like as bad as Saleh might end up or was as a head coach, I'm still convinced last year with better backup quarterback play, they're at least 9-8 or 10-7.
Right. And when you say, they rectified it out in San Francisco, they gave up so much they were able to get lucky and draft a guy, Mr. Irrelevant. Ultimately, Douglas was able to trade Zach, get something back as little as it was. You're right. Maybe the commitment for the extra year as a backup was too much. I think he still wanted to see if there was anything in there. as we've said before, you might never see it out of Zach Wilson, but we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Kyle, excellent call. Ladies and gentlemen, Jets just got to win Monday. That's what it comes down to. Win Monday. It has already been an all-time show. Let's make it even better.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
The Lane Train. He's gone. Lane, no! Lane! No!
Hi. Sorry, everybody. See you next call when we talk about sports again.
What did they do to my boy? Lane, call back. Indomitable is next. Hello, Indomitable.
Jack, man, what a show, man. This is my daily therapy, man.
Hold on, he's back.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
Lane, what do you got? No! Lane! Indomitable, you're next. Hey, Indomitable.
This is crazy, man. Jake, what's going on, man? Let me tell you something real quick. Can you hear me, Jake?
I hear you.
One of the principles that our nation was founded upon is liberty. Why will someone come into your channel, man, and try to control what you're talking about? I mean, New York sports is on fire now, and they're criticizing you for talking about the Yankees. Like, what are we doing here?
I agree. Lane's back.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
Lane. Unmute your mic, Lane. No, Lane. All right, Indomitable, continue.
I'm on now. Shit's crazy. So like I was saying, man, good win for the Yankees last night. Stanton looked like Ricky Henderson out there. And congrats to the Mets fans. Let me tell you something real quick, Jake, man, before you cut me off for the Lane Train, before I get run over. For the 2 previous week, man, I called in before the game. I think it was Friday or Saturday, whatever. And I told you, man, we got to start fast. We got to dominate from the beginning because the state,
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
Lane, are you there, Lane? Unmute your mic. Hit the mic button. No, Lane. All right, continue, Indomitable.
I'm on? All right. So like I was saying, man, one of the staples of the Saleh era was starting slow, man. We better start fast with break, man. We better come out of the gate with the hair on fire, man. And in regards to people doing the revisionist history with Zach Wilson, it's over, man. Why are we talking about that baby still? It's over. We got Rodgers, man. All right? So have a great day, Jake.
You got anything else, Indomitable? Well, too bad. Lane's back.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
Lane, talk to me.
How are
I
you?
can't see you, Lane. There you are.
Hi.
Hey, Lane.
I don't know what was going on with the phone, actually.
No. Lane. Indomitable, how you doing?
Man, this is historic. So, yeah, like I was saying, man, there's no need to be talking about Zach Wilson, man. It's over. The era is over. We got Rodgers. Let's go win on Monday. Come out of the gate with the hair on fire, man. Treat Josh Allen like he fucked your girlfriend, and let's go, man. Let's go.
Hey, Jesus. Where did that come from?
On behalf of the Jake Asman Show, we apologize for the foul language.
Incredible. Lane, please call back. We need you. Jerome, the Packer fans next. Hey, Jerome.
What's going on, everybody? Could you hear me? I'm in the deep bowels of this building.
Oh,
I'm
we hear
surprised I got good. Yeah, man. You guys, let's not be worried. Let's relax a little bit. You guys are 2-3, not 1-4, not 0-5. You win this game, you're in first place. So clearly you guys are not out of it. Saleh, he had to go. It's just, it is what it is. The team was starting to take on his personality, and I'm all bricked up. I think y'all come out firing. I think y'all come out with your hair on fire.
Jerome,
and whatnot.
do you hear that?
What?
You hear
What
that?
do I hear?
I think I hear a
Hear what?
train.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
Lane. Lane looks like Han Solo when he was in Carbonite. Oh, maybe it's just not meant to be. Jerome, continue.
Yeah, man. As I was saying, you guys, the bleeding had to stop. And it was best that it stopped then. Well, now, then later. I told you guys Saleh would cost y'all 2 or 3 games that y'all was not supposed to lose. And so now that things seem to be remedied in that area, you guys still could be good for the playoffs and whatnot. And I remember one of the Asmans was like, Jerome doesn't know any better because he's a Packer fan. he's not a Jet fan. But let me say this, Jake. How old would you guess that I
am? 38.
I'm 51.
Wow, you look good, Jerome.
I'm 51. So before Favre came to the Packers and then we had Rodgers, we had all those years, good 30 years of football. I'm old enough to know when the Packers was kind of something like the Jets. And so that's why I'm on board with this Jet bandit.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
Hey, Lane. Lane, your mic is muted.
Cool.
Right, back to Jerome.
Oh yeah. And so, I'm sticking with you guys. I adopted y'all as my AFC team. And so I understand what futility is, actually. And so I'm riding with the Jets through thick and thin. Y'all my team. I'm still on board with this play. I still think you guys will get to the playoffs. It's just certain things needed to be fixed. Aaron, we can't have Rodgers throwing 40, 50 times in the game. You guys were predicated on being a run team first. And so we got to get that O-line thing together, get discipline on Hall.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
Lane, are you there? Lane, unmute your microphone. No. All right, back to Jerome.
Yeah, y'all got to run the ball, get discipline, have Aaron throwing less, not throwing no 40, 50 times. And then I think you guys will be right back to where you were when y'all was cooking and scorching, when y'all was winning early in the season, still early in the season. So, I wouldn't. Y'all 1 win away from being in first place. And I think y'all will cook the Bills because you always cook the Bills. And Brick, he's going to put something in the hearts of the whole team, offense and defense. They're gonna take his personality. And they're going to take his personality. And I think you guys will be better for it. That's all I really got.
Jerome, excellent points all around. Ladies and gentlemen, it's raining memberships.
Now, give me money. Or I shoot him. And I shoot all you motherfuckers. And then we take it. Your choice, bitches.
The hero this channel needs, Dark Knight Steve, with 10 memberships, 5 memberships, and then another 2 memberships. Ladies and gentlemen, we have names to read, courtesy of Dark Knight Steve. If you want a membership, click on his name and turn on gift receipts. Like this video right now, or you can't get one, and you got to be subscribed to the channel to be eligible for a membership. Here we go. RJ Cesari, Paulie, Mrs. Miss Coco, Joe, Sauce of Side, JM2, John Reed, Nate Bonifant, Card Cave Central, Sluggo, Danette Randall, 1189 Paris, Cheeseman, Fly By Night, B. Cole, all receiving channel memberships from Dark Knight Steve. What a run, man. What a run. It is all happening. Steve, we thank you. Super Chat, 17 memberships and an offering to the football gods for Devante Adams. Wow.
Free stuff.
That's amazing. Steve, you're the best, brother. Hope everyone watched me and Steve on NFL Network Sunday morning, leading the Jet channel, the Jet Pub that they showed. John writes, and I thought Neil was about to enter the Royal Rumble. This was in reference to the Indy Jets, Allen, and Gary sequence. Grinch Mob, where's Neil? We need a Neil call. Neil, where are you? Boba Jet, new merch idea. Kelly Green t-shirt that says, I'm bricked up. I like it. M. Giraldi says, Todd Downing is the new play caller. M. Giraldi, while I appreciate the $2, where were you about an hour and 50 minutes ago when we talked about that? When the news broke during our show. For those of you tuning in late, though, here is Jeff Ulbrich announcing the news that Hackett is no longer the play caller and Todd Downing is.
Regarding the staff, after a lot of time to think about it and did not make this decision easily by any means, I'm going to make Todd Downing the play caller for the New York Jets going forward. And this is more a byproduct of a different take on things. I'm not saying it's a better or worse take on things by any means, but just a different take on things, a fresh approach. So ultimately, Todd will have the full say on the game plan and ultimately the plays that are called within the game.
I'm bricked up, baby. Here's more from Ulbrich on his involvement in the offense.
Right. No, I definitely want to have an influence there as well. So I'm gonna really look hard at this week and how I can find those places to infuse my personality into that side of the ball. From a strategic or from a schematic standpoint, I don't know if there'll be a ton of input, but as far as style of play, absolutely. You know, the way this thing looks on Monday night. I'm hopeful that I can infuse that into them.
Is there something about Todd's?
Amen. Let's go. Let's go. We need to infuse some energy into this offense and also this show. Here we go.
Hi, how are you? Bruce Hall. That's good.
Hey, Lane.
Hello, Jake.
How are you?
Good.
What's on your mind?
Well, how do you feel about the Jets firing Robert Saleh?
I think. Oh no, Lane. No.
Hi. Sorry, everybody. See you next call when we talk about sports again.
This is cruel what they're doing to Lane. This is cruel. There's no respect. Terrible. Don't take Lane away from us. You guys know when the Lane train calls in, this show could go anywhere, so buckle up. What's up, Lane Kerner?
Zach Wilson is not going to come back. Why don't you think he's going to sign still with the Jets? Is it because he's not good?
He stinks!
Oh, stinks? Yeah, same feeling.
The guy is terrible!
I said announce the draft picks.
Lane, I want you to announce a Jets pick. That would make my
Yeah,
life.
I mean, who am I going to pick, though, for the draft? On the 2022 draft pick, the pick goes to Knoble out of college. Then they tell you who the players are from, and their families get excited. You sign him, he's to be good going into week 1. Yeah, I know a lot of the football.
That was amazing. I love you, Lane. You're the best. What a draft pick. Lane, you are a national treasure. Lane's one of the greats, folks. And never forget where the Lane train came from, where it all began. Let's go to Lane, who's up next. Hello, Lane.
Hey, oh, hi.
Hello, Lane.
How is everything? Yes?
You're on the air, Lane.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Lane.
Hi. So, yeah, I'm happy about the way the Jets played today. And, you know, they moved the ball. and they did great. Look, okay. I mean, I know it was raining out. Did you see the game?
No, I didn't watch it. What happened?
Well, they won. And the other team lost.
Lane, thank you. Come on, man. Whoa. Holy crap. I can't believe it. Lane Kerner's in the house. What's up, Lane?
I'm talking about sports on my phone. Yeah, I mean, great game. I saw the game, and I watched the Jets game the other day, and they lost. They tried. They played against it reminds me of that Ace Ventura movie with him going into the tank. That movie was cracking up. Did you see that? That movie?
Yeah, I have.
The Jets should have won that game. I watched it. I just couldn't believe it that they lost. You have to move the ball down the field, and they just didn't. Like it was Bruce Hall, Robert Scala. More news. Do you think maybe they'll win next year?
I'm not quite sure what you mean by do I think they'll win?
Well, do you think maybe they should draft a quarterback or a QB?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry,
man,
and I
where
can
did you
go. And I have some other stuff too to talk about. Do you think, but anyway, staying to Jets, yeah. I like the Jets uniforms. I just don't want me to keep you long because you probably have some more people online waiting to talk about sports. Okay, that's all. Have a great day and watch the game next week.
Great call, Lane. The Lane train, folks. We couldn't give you a full Lane train, but we went down memory lane instead. Damn internet for Lane not working today. Ladies and gentlemen, smash that Lane train emoji if you're an official Asmaniac. We added 20 members so far this show, which is incredible. Nick Faria joined us for the first hour, as he always does in his weekly spot. We will have Fireman Ed on the show today, reacting to Saleh being fired, Obrick, the interim, and Obrick already announcing Hackett out as the play caller. Todd Downing now in charge of that responsibility. Jeff Obrick, baby. Here we go. I'm bricked up.
Okay, good luck, Coach. We love you.
I love you too, Jeremy. You look mighty cute in those jeans, brother.
We will be back in a few hours with Fireman Ed. I'm doing a Jake Asman football show in a little bit, so we'll talk about the NFL as a whole in about 90 minutes if you want to tune in live for that on my YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to everyone for your support. You guys were amazing. We couldn't do it without you. I end today's show by saying Jets, 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 and I'm bricked up, baby.
First, I got to ask you about the shop first. Try to put in the password Patreon. It's not working.
The password's actually Chicken Soup 2024. Rick got it right.
It's not working.
Make sure you put all caps for Chicken Soup 2024.
I did put it in all caps.
It's actually all lowercase then.
It's not working, Jake. I don't know what the hell it is.
My merch person just told me they changed the password again. Let me get it for you.
Okay.
Ask her for the soup recipe.
She's not in the mood right now. She's talking to my dad.
By the way, the password is Dennis Gorman if you want to try that.
Is it all caps lock?
It's Dennis is all caps, Gorman is all lowercase.
It's not working.
Hey, I just got off the phone with my merch guy. It's Chicken Soup for Life. Try that, all caps.
It's not working either.
Are you serious? I'm going to have to fire this guy.
Chicken is spelled bleh.
How do you spell bleh? I think you're typing too fast.
Say, please try again.
This is unbelievable. All right, well, message me on the Discord later, and I'll get you in there when I figure this out. Charles, try one more password if you can. All caps, I want, WANT, chicken soup.
Say, please try again.
God damn. I'm sorry, man.
Don't worry about it, Jake. You know what? I'll probably come on another time, okay? Don't worry about it.
Oh, is that Gary's wife? Hi, Gary's wife. Oh, there she is. Very good looking.
There's been a
lot of you out there asking about who he be. Well, he's about to let you know.
He's Charles.
This rap is so hot, you'll play it on a loop. You'll never get the recipe for chicken noodle soup. Super a spider or even a bat. Got nothing on me or Bobby with his hat. Lady's gotta be a 10 if I'm gonna date her. Shout out to my homie, his name is Gator. I'm Charles.
To all you other guys trying to rap on Jake's show, got nothing on this guy and his flow.
He's Charles.
These bars be so hot, I'll get invited on Fountain. You know who won't? That hater, Alan. My comic book and movie takes are so hot and wild. Since my last verse, Johnny had another child. My YouTube is blowing up and becoming a star. Like takes are fresh like the clothes on VR. I'm Charles.
Jets, Yankees, comics, hip-hop. Nobody compares when it comes to him. He's Charles.
I see everyone on Jake's show trying to prop bars. I'm the only one jumping over cars. Lowski calls the show and he's always really loud. Shout out to Nick, you know he'd be proud. I don't like Zach or his family, they're Mormon. First name Charles, last name Gorman. I'm Charles, motherfucker.
You just witnessed the debut of a proud New York Jet fan and a Jake Asman production. Brought to you by the man, the myth, the legend himself.
I'm Charles.